Welcome to Thoughts in the Glass podcast. I'm LaToya,
And I'm Ken.
and this is a weekly podcast where we share our unfiltered thoughts on a variety of topics.
So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite drink and join us on a conversation of real, raw, and ridiculously funny commentary.
Period. Every week we do a drink of the night. Kendra, what's our drink tonight?
So, along with what we talked about last week with, the cookouts, Father's Day's coming. It's June. Y'all gonna be out in these pride streets. You might want a little something, something. So we gonna have us a spiked lemonade.
The Simply Spiked Lemonade.
The Simply Spiked Lemonade. This is the berry flavor.
You classed it up this time. You put it in a glass.
I got a skew. Okay. I like the berry. But I'm gonna tell you, it's giving a little artificial in the back of my throat.
Yeah, it do. It do. Yeah. I think it's raspberry.
Yeah, it's the raspberry. Everything I don't.
It really does have that little like medicine kind of taste. Yeah,
tasting like sweet and low.
But I still like it though.
Yes, I mean, listen, on a hot day,
maybe we should did the original.
Maybe.
But whatever.
And it was a little frosted because it was in the freezer.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, so it's June, y'all.
Dang.
I know. I was just saying I don't want to wish the summer away, but
we got 3 months.
We're in June. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
All of to everyone, but especially to the LGBTQ plus community. June is also Black Music Month.
Don't play with us.
So we'll see what Tiny Desk has in store for us this month to celebrate Black Music Month.
Okay.
I don't know what else is going on in June. If y'all know what else is going on in June, put it in the comments.
Personally, my child's birthday's in June.
Oh, yeah.
School is over in June.
Yep.
All the children, by this time, the 8th graders had that, because, they do the college and high school early.
Yes.
So now the 8th graders have graduated. All the little people going to high school. Yeah, that's so wonderful.
When is the last day of school for Charles County? For PG County.
I believe it is the 15th.
I think Charles is the same, the 15th. If not the 15th, it's maybe the 14th.
I think it's the 15th because they had the snow days. Because this is like they usually have a little bit earlier, like the 12th or something like that. There was only 1 year, I think this one we had like the Snowmageddon, where they had it up to the 20th, that extra week, because Janae was actually in school on her birthday. She's never in school on her birthday. 21st. Yeah. But it's starting to creep up closer to like her birthday side.
I want to swing back to school, but before we get into that, have you been watching anything?
So, I watch my regular stuff.
Yeah.
I do use my catch up. I have not caught up on the I was telling you I was watching Behind the Gates.
Yeah.
So I need to get back into that. It's been like 3 weeks and I can really binge watch. Cause it's like a cringe watch. I don't know why I do these cringe watches, y'all. I cringe. I be like, and at the whole time, I'm like, now shut up. And then I'm like, next episode. Now you was stupid. Next episode. I could not understand why my mother would tape her stories, and I'd be like, Mom, this is so crazy and fake. And here I am trying to load up on enough so I could binge watch, because it come on every day. Anyway, so I'm still trying to get into the Behind the Gates. I do know, because things are happening so fast. So one of the plots was like, and if you ain't seen it, it's been 3 weeks. Get into it. But one of them was it's about a family, of course. So it's about this head family that, and I think I talked about this, but I'll just recap, that created the Behind the Gates community. So their family is the founding father of this community. So they're like the big family of the community. So the mother and father had 2 girls, because I don't think they have brothers. So it's 2 girls. So one girl one lady was married. They're getting divorced. The divorced husband done married the has married his daughter. So they have two girls together. So so one of the girls, let's say her name is Angela. So Angela and Mike, let's call them Angela and Mike. They've gotten divorced. Angela and Mike had two daughters. Mm-hmm. Well, Mike started dating their daughter. Let's call her Eva. Oh no, because it's one of the girls' name is actually Eva. Let's call her Jocelyn. Dated and married Jocelyne's best friend.
Wow. What?
So you know how much younger she is. So she's going through the wife, Angela, is going through all of the things like, I stopped my modeling career for you to raise your children, to help you with your business. You know, the regular gambit of things.
Yeah.
And then they have another daughter who's a doctor. I think she's a surgeon. She's married to a businessman, very wealthy businessman. Well, their plot, so they have 3 children. Mm-hmm. I think they have a daughter and two sons, or a boy and a girl, something like that, because the kids also then have children. So anyway, I think this is a son. So the man, let's call him Robert and Elise. So Robert and Elise have these children. Robert, when Elise was going through like that, she had miscarriage and things like that early in their relationship, stepped out on Elise. Right? Stepped out on Elise and had a whole relationship. She knew something was up, but like could never, like she just know she was like, felt like she was losing her family, she was losing her husband, so she needed to get her shit together, right? She needed to get out of this postpartum, the losing of the child, like she needed to get herself together. So inevitably she did. They went to therapy, they got themselves together, but he never disclosed
what had happened.
Well, in that marital infidelity, the young lady he was with was supposed to get an abortion. She did not get an abortion. So now this young lady, his daughter, is like in her 20s. So they come now and move into behind the gates. Now this is when I be like, now y'all, come on now. The mother of the daughter has this plan to, you deserve to be rightfully where you belong to this family. Like, you act like these are kings and queens. And so the daughter's like, she's been fed this whole time that he's the worst person, that this wife's the worst person, this, that, and the fourth. So the daughter meets the family, but as like a random kind of situation. So the mother ends up, what did I call her? Elise has a administrative, like an assistant, right? So she has the main assistant and then one from that kind of works from home. So the one that works from home, she got this job because she does like a lot of what's those things, nonprofit things. Okay. So it was like helping her get to school. She does like, they have a lot of foundations, stuff like that. So she picked her from the foundation to help her with like just to have business,
her personal stuff.
Exactly. But then it also, she was able to get like scholarships and stuff like that. So it was just kind of showing her a different, the different world. Anyway, the mama from the infidelity done ran the girl off the road.
Oh no.
So she was in the hospital. So they was like, I need a personal assistant. The main assistant was like, I know Eva, which is the daughter.
The daughter, yeah.
And I think she would do a great job. Now, the actual daughter that was raised with the family is like, who is this broad? It's something that's sneaky about her. I don't like her, blah, blah, blah. So every time something's going on, the mother gets involved and put some magnesium or something in the girl's IV at the hospital. I'm like, how you get to the hospital and be like, I'm the new nurse with no damn paperwork? Like, I know. It's a show.
It's a show. I thought it was a reality TV show.
No, girl,
it's a fake show.
It's a soap opera.
It's like
General Hospital.
Fake, it's scripted.
Yes, it's like General Hospital. So she go, and they like, okay, well, such and such needs this. Like, they just go on status quo. All she did was put a wig on. All she did was put a wig on. So now the daughter's involved like more with the family and stuff like that because now the young lady's gonna be out even longer, and so they really like Eva, right? So and she has a sensible personality, but she also is there for a goal. But when you get into the mix, you see how nice these people are and how welcoming they are and stuff like that. So the mother's like, "Are we still into the plan? Are we still into the plan?" So what I saw, the last episode that I saw, well, kind of snippet that I saw on TikTok. So I do need to watch to get involved, get caught up. The lady, because she went to the anniversary party. The daughter actually got her kicked out of the anniversary party because she wanted to cause a scene. But the daughter's like starting to get really involved with this family. She done came and knocked on the door to try to expose this daggone thing at the mama house. So everybody's gathered at the mother's house for whatever engagement that they're having, and she done went in there to try to blow stuff up. So the mother don't have it. She not having it. She like, so you had all this time to script this, and this is what you came up with? Very lackluster. I said, first of all, if I spent 20 years doing this, and you call me lackluster, I'm punching you in the face today. How lackluster was that? How lackluster is that nose of yours? Is it pounding? But anyway, so that I'm watching that. But then, this is my regular schmegular stuff.
I did get into Forever, the TV series on Netflix.
I've seen a lot of that.
I thought it was really good. So the only thing is that now that I'm getting older, it's hard for me to watch teenage romances.
That's a lot of reason why I didn't get into it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to watch, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? When I was 17, 18, I was doing stuff
It would have been
But I, at almost 40, I don't want to watch that.
Because of all, the first thing I'm saying is I'm looking at it as a parent.
Yeah.
And as an adult, like, you gonna regret it.
Yeah.
But understanding, like, you've been there and you know that they're gonna regret it. The people that it's really geared towards, for like Janae, she's like, I understand where like they get involved.
Yeah.
I was in love and this and the fourth. Once you've been in love, out of love, in love, and out of love, you be like,
yeah. So I get it. I thought it was really good though. I loved, I talked last week about like the Black excellence and like we've really been in our bag. And to me, that was more of my takeaway from it. I saw when they rolled the clips at the end, I saw that Regina King had directed a few episodes. A lot of Black,
I love Regina
me
King.
too. A lot of Black creators worked on this project. I know it's a reimagining of the Judy Blume book. I never read the book. I don't know what that book is about, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was a great take on and kind of a perspective into the complications and what it is like experiencing and navigating being in high school at that crucial time where you're coming towards the end. Which I guess the timing is perfect, right? Because a lot of kids are in this space where they're coming towards the end of high school. What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to, you're getting into that space where you're exploring who you are, what you want to do, and how you're going to move around in your life. And at the same time, maybe dealing with relationships, how to navigate relationships, how does that affect?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Perfect
time. And the pitfalls as well. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be things that don't go right. There are going to be miscommunications. So I thought it was a really realistic view of how things can go. I thought it was very artistic. I think the acting was really good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the only thing negative I could say is that me personally, and I don't think this is not saying anything about the show. I think they did it well, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
They hit the mark.
I just personally didn't like these sex scenes. I don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
It's just you're an adult.
Yeah.
What are we? We supposed to be cougars at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, it was one of those situations where they could have faded to black. Like I know what's about to happen.
I don't need to picture that.
Yeah, I know what's about to happen.
What are your grades looking like?
Yeah. But I did one scene that I did find, I just enjoyed and I found, to be very smart on their part to kind of show this. Is like the first time that they had slept together and they show him like putting a condom on and doing all of that, and like they showed that they were both awkward. You know what I mean? Like one person didn't know more than the other person. And I think that when you going into that, you don't know what you're doing. You kind of had this thing in your mind of like, well, they know what to do,
Right.
so I have to pretend like I know what to do, even though neither one of y'all know what to do.
Y'all is lost in every soul.
Yeah, and it's like, it's okay for us both to not know what to do. It's okay for us both to explore.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the part of like how parents can play a role in protecting you, but also sometimes they're not able to protect you. And sometimes what looks like protection from a parent can be, as somebody described it, micromanaging. I appreciated that part. It gave me some, even though I had my own experience, it did give me a different view of kids. They think they know everything and they don't be knowing everything. But as adults, we don't know everything either.
Well. That's what I was getting ready to say.
And sometimes you feel like because I'm an adult and because I've been through it before, I know what to do. And I'm telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that. But like, we don't know everything. Yeah. And a lot of times,
and what works for us may not work for the other.
Exactly.
They're still just people.
And a lot of times we don't give kids enough of the benefit of the doubt to kind of make their own decisions. And so I think they showed that in a really beautiful way, you know, not demonizing the parent, but really showing it in a way of, you see this mom and all she is trying to do is create an environment for her son to thrive. Yes. And he has his own thing going on. And it's like, even though she just wants the best for him, her best may not be what he wants, you know? I love also they showed, I think the male main character has ADHD. So they showed that and like how the family's dealing with that. They talked about therapy a lot. They just really, they didn't kind of shy away from any of the stereotypes. I love that these two families, the boy's family is wealthy and well off, and they showed that Black people can be wealthy. The girl's family is not, but her mother is working, not really home with her, not really there, but just doing whatever she has to do to give her child the best, you know. So we see that part too. One thing I did also appreciate is they didn't really show any of the negative stereotypes. Like, they didn't really show, I mean, yeah, the daughter did have kind of like a deadbeat dad, but they didn't show anybody like selling drugs or, you know, any of that kind of stuff that we're so used to seeing, being in jail, this and that. I want to say they alluded to it for certain people, but this wasn't that. Yeah. And I feel like I get so tired of seeing that. So it was refreshing to see a story where we're not talking about that. Yeah. You know? So
and so the clips that I saw, especially like with the father having to being in the space with the mom, and I know we talk about how important it is because you need the duality of two parents, and him being like, no, you want him to be a man, this is a part of it. Yeah. And in certain instances, and a lot of times what we end up getting with, sometimes definitely with single moms, is you want the man in the midst of that, where the level of protection you can give give a man, you have to step off.
Yes, and that's a very unique perspective that I feel like a lot of times, not only, but I feel like a lot of times that's a very unique perspective that a man is going to bring to it, whereas a woman, we just may not.
You look at that child right then at that point, that's just a little boy. That's still your son. Like, you don't see how, when you're raising, and this is, I think we talked about this before, when you're not raising a emotional support for yourself or your own connection of a man, a boyfriend, whatever, you are if you're raising a man to be a man for a good husband and a good provider and things like that, you have to force them to do the good things to be a man. So saying, I need to speak to her, I need to see her, okay, well, you do it, but do it safely. I'm not going to say, oh, no, you my son, I need to protect you, forget her. Because that's what a lot of things, like, that ain't my daughter, I ain't worried about her. But if you're raising your son to be a good protector and a provider and a good husband, you do have to say, it's not about me and my feelings about my son. I want you to go and take care of whom you care for, but do it in a safe, as his father was saying, and you do it in a safe way.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate it, and they gave me some insight on like I know me, like I would be like she can come over here,
Right.
or but I am more of a like, okay, well let's go get her. I'll go with
Yeah.
you. But sometimes you don't need to be in it, like they need their time.
Absolutely.
So
Like
that's
you
the
don't
other
need to
thing.
be
You
in
know
it at
that
all. Like let him do him.
you don't need to drop them off and sit around the corner.
It's hard though. It's hard.
It's
It's
very hard.
hard. But you do have to push through
Mhm.
and allow these kids to grow up. So
Mhm.
I thought it was good. If y'all get it, if y'all watched it already, drop down in the comments and tell me your thoughts. If you haven't watched it, give it a try. I thought it was good. It was binge worthy.
Yeah.
It was binge worthy.
Yeah. And speaking of like good men, I want to start by saying congratulations to Kadeem
Mm-hmm.
Ellis on her new project with Tyler Perry with Sisters.
Okay.
Divorced sisters, because he love a sister. Okay, sister to sister, right?
I'm glad that she's working with him.
Yes.
Because I feel like everybody was seeing Deval work with him and being
Right.
like, oh,
Like, what's tea?
yeah. So
she
now
at?
she has her
Now
opportunity.
she has her opportunity because she went into for acting, but I think that the time works with the kids getting a little older,
Yeah.
things like that. So congratulations to her. I look forward to it because I think we have LaToya Luckett is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give y'all the cast. Up, up.
And this is gonna be on Hulu.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm asking.
No, I think it's
Or it's on OWN.
No, usually it's on BET Plus.
Oh, okay. He has his
He a
contract
BET
with them.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
he a BET hanging out.
At one
I
point in
know
time,
he
he
was.
was gonna try to buy BET, right?
Yes, yes. I think they only have. Oh, they do have it, but I don't think that they have the list. Anyway, it's a LaToya Luckett. It's a bunch of um black creatives in it. Where is it? This look like no, that's LaToya Luckett. Where's the people? Give me the list. I hate when they be doing bull. Okay, here we go. So you have LaToya Luckett, Kadeem. Oh, so she's going by her maiden name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Adria, Indria, Portia Coleman, Brianna Price, Jennifer Sears, Ron Rico Lee,
Okay, yeah.
Devin Franklin, Megan Good's ex
Devon.
Devon,
Mm-hmm.
Megan Good's ex husband, Donovan Christie Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, and then Robert Christopher Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they got a little cast up on there.
Yeah. Some of these people have worked with him
Yeah, of
before.
course.
It's kind of like his go
Yeah,
to.
yeah, his people.
I'm
They say because
surprised.
of how strenuous the like you had like his recording his how he shoots his episodes. You shooting so many,
Mm-hmm.
and you ain't doing 2 and 3 takes.
And not everybody is used to that kind of workflow.
Exactly.
I'm surprised he didn't have Corey Hardrick in it because I after that last project they did together, I think he enjoys working with Tyler Perry and Tyler enjoys working with him. So I'm surprised
Who knows?
Because
Because Tyler be working on so many daggone projects.
Yeah. I would love, and I know, okay, this is like whatever,
Oh
but
Lord.
no, because I would love to see Jonathan Majors work with him. Just because I feel like that would, to me, Jonathan Majors is such a serious actor. I think if he did like some Tyler Perry stuff, it would show us a different, more fun side to him. I mean, he can be fun because like even with some of the Marvel stuff he did, he kind of played around with his characters, but I want to see if he can do can you do something that's like a soap opera? Like what could you bring to that?
I think
and plus I just want to see him back on screen again.
I think that's the thing. I think people are trying to slow walk like he's doing that. He did that Muscle Man
Magazine Dreams.
Yeah, so he just finished that up.
I need to watch it. I haven't watched it.
So the hope is like around it. It just kind of slowly fades.
Well, and because Megan Good has a good relationship with Tyler Perry, so I thought maybe that might be like a bridge.
But it's still going to be like the person's, right? Because like with, like he did that interview with Keke Palmer, and they were like, Keke, absolutely not, and she took it down.
Really?
Yeah, she had some clips up, and they were like, how are you going to have this? and he's an abuser and this and the fourth. When I say she ain't everything,
Mm.
so it's still very like he's not popular with that Christian community.
But I feel like Tyler Perry is maybe Keke Palmer, no, but Tyler Perry is a big enough name where if Tyler says that he fucks with him, and other people would have no choice but to. They're not going to cancel Tyler Perry for working with him because Tyler Perry has already built up so much of a.
Yeah, he may just not want to hear. He already gets a lot of flack for his type of. Oh, he just factory stuff, and it's the same thing, and it's the same people.
He don't want to add in that other narrative.
That narrative of that. You already giving me my shit, crap.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's in talk with Disney about maybe having a small role and coming back.
This is the thing.
I don't know much about him personally. He might really be an abuser, and that's, to me, I'm not saying that we can ignore that. What I'm saying is I don't know. Mm-hmm. The situation that he was in, he went to court. He was not accused of domestic abuse or violence.
He grabbed her arm.
They were both in assault.
Yes.
So it didn't come out as, oh, he was the abuser.
Yes.
It came out as you guys assaulted each other.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I'm going to go with the court case says. Mm-hmm. I don't know him personally, but I feel like putting that aside, I enjoy his acting. Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, I hope he's able to come back and do some things and be on screen for us again.
But then going into talking about Kadeem, I don't know if you guys, we had a chance to watch it because Deval is in Sisters, he does movies, and he's doing team. So he's doing a lot of working and what's really like carrying the family. I think Kadeem had some other things that she had going on. Mm-hmm. When you are so used to, in the beginning of you all's relationship, everything was like, y'all like this. And then next thing you working, I think they now, because they were living in LA, I think they've now moved to Atlanta because that's where he's make it easier with filming and things. I think they moved to Atlanta because I know they were in LA for a minute, and then because he would have to fly home after they recorded for a while. But anyway, he really broke down because he's been having because I think they're coming out with either having a book or something's going on. And so they've been
they're on a press tour for something.
Doing a press tour. Mm-hmm. And so they had these factory answers of, it's hard, but we work together. We have this village and stuff like that. And I think he's had so many that you can only do that so many times before that mask slips, as we always say. Mm-hmm. And then when I say that mask slipped off. Mm-hmm. It ain't even do like this and be like, okay, let me just shake it back up. That thing said, well, I'm tired. And I felt like that's what we needed to see, that relationships don't just to be like that. There's a lot of work that goes into being a active father, and not just that, because I always say this, the kids gonna go, and I want to still like you when they gone. I don't want us to just be doing this because we have a family, but I want us to be like, after these kids go on and start making their own life and doing their own thing, I want to be able to say, and I want to still spend time with my husband.
Absolutely.
Or wife, or be with my person. And I think that just showed how much pressure you're under when, your couple goes, you're this, you're that. And it's only because you're showing like, am I not supposed to show that I love my wife or I care about my spouse or whatever? For me not to be put in this box of, if you slip up, if they see you arguing, if you not talking, then all of a sudden it's an issue. So if you ever had a chance to watch that, because he really was talking about, he's saying like he misses his kids, he definitely misses his wife, and then he misses himself. Mm-hmm. Like anytime you out in the streets, it's like, oh, Zach. He's like, I'm my own person. Damn, I was a whole football player, but I was doing a whole other things. I'm a multitude of people. I'm not Zach. And then if you're like, oh, well, how can he be with Crystal, all this time? And, it becomes I wonder if they're going to sleep together for real. Everybody make a big thing. They said the same thing with Michelle Obama when she didn't go to the inauguration. Mm-hmm. Oh, they must be getting divorced. She said, I did that shit because I didn't want to go. And it took a lot for me to do it, to not go. Mm-hmm. So I think of like how difficult it is to be trying to be a provider and do all of these things under a microscope and a wide screen of everybody being able to see every little thing and wanting to be there in every way that you can. And sometimes you're slipping up, and sometimes he didn't say that, but I feel like he's alluding to, I can't be the person that I want to be all the time. And that's hard. I don't like, you may see my parents here and stuff like that, but we may not have that village. People go on vacation. People want to go back to their, like, when parents and family members come down and watch the kids and this, that, and the fourth, they coming down for a hot second. That day to day of homeschooling, want to make sure your kids have education. And then he's very into, do y'all want to play football? Y'all want to do sports? He wants to show up to these things. And it's difficult, just as a regular parent that works every day, to be, I'm like, Janae, can you pick Jonathan up from athletics? Because I got to work late. So that means I'm not getting until 7. I already had dinner because I've either cooked for the week, or Janae maybe I sent her somebody to pick something up. So by 7 o'clock, I'm getting in. Honestly, I don't really want to talk. I want to take me a shower, go to bed, but now I have to then engage. Oh, how was school? Are you working on any project? Oh, you had a project. So now in my mind, okay, so this weekend I can't just chill. We got to work on the science fair. And then also with Jonathan being a black male, continuing to pour into him and making sure that he doesn't fall between the cracks, because you're trying to do all of these things and you can't do everything. So I really appreciated his perspective.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I feel like you basically covered it. I do think that it gets to a point, as the kids would say.
And Jayla, that's what I said, and Jayla would say, it gets to a point. She said, because the point gets to.
It gets to a point. My little cousin says that too. That's what the kids be saying. It gets to a point.
It gets to a point.
But it does get to a point. You know what I mean? You get tired. Yeah. And I think he said that. He's just like, I'm tired. And I felt that. Because it is tiring sometimes. Like, really just always.
Be a good person.
Yeah, and then always having to have it together. I don't always have it together, but I do think he said, but when you choose this lifestyle, you have a responsibility, right? And so I can respect and appreciate that while I am tired and while I'm not always perfect, I know that I have a responsibility. So I keep pushing because of that responsibility. And I think it's sad because people will take that for granted. Yes. People don't think about the fact that you have folks out here really sacrificing their lives because they feel like they have a responsibility to you. And they don't even know you. But they have a responsibility to the culture. Everybody that's looking up to them. Yep. And they're making sacrifices to uphold that standard. Yep. And I think
sometimes to the detriment, not even of your relationship, but just to the detriment of yourself.
Correct. And I think we can take that for granted a lot of times, that, like, you know, you do have these people, especially celebrities, right? We sit and we talk about
celebrities.
Yeah, we sit and we break down their decisions, talk about their lives. Yep. It's almost as if, I think Tina Knowles said this, it's almost as if we could say whatever we want, good, bad, indifferent. Yep. But Beyonce's supposed to sit back and not respond to anything and never get mad, never get upset.
And then be mad when she don't say nothing. Oh, she thinks she better than us.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing right.
Right. And so when Deval says, this is hard, I get that. Yeah. Like he was saying, you know, we're couples goals. Okay, so now what does that look like? How do we uphold that standard?
Yeah.
Even when we're tired, even when we're exhausted, even when we have all these other things going on, we might want to cuss each other out. But now you never know who has a camera, who's going to be. So now we got to keep it.
Oh, y'all ain't seen us together in 3 or 4 days. It's like, oh, they must be beefing. So it's difficult.
It is. And I appreciate him being vulnerable.
Exactly, because you don't get that from celebrities a lot. Everybody's still trying to hold this thing. And you may get it in a song. We're talking about like regular. There's not going to be an interview of Beyonce saying, yes, he cheated on me. This is how we got through it. You know, it was a very difficult time. She's going to do it artistically, right?
Yeah.
And that is her prerogative. But you'll have people that do now. I mean, they was to the extreme. That was on My Dear Wifey podcast, and then we all like, now, why would you stay?
Right.
You know, so it's just, they say everybody has opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink.
Okay. So, all right, circling back to school, right?
Yes.
We're coming up on the last couple of days of school. Everything is winding down, but you still maybe have to deal with these teachers for a few more weeks, right? Sure. And teachers have to deal with these parents for a few more weeks. So I have am I the asshole scenario.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, that I want to get your take on. So it says, my 11-year-old daughter is in the 6th grade this year, and she's been working really hard in math. Okay. She's gotten over 80% in every class test so far by sheer blood, sweat, and tears. She never used to be particularly good at school. She, of course, is an amazing kid in a million ways, but really struggles with math. Her math teacher has this pin board where she posts all the names of 2 kids that has quote unquote worked the hardest that week. She gives those kids a small reward like a chocolate bar. And I thought this was a good idea because it motivates the kids who struggle with math to work a little harder. Well, my daughter was crying over a few weeks ago about how she's never been picked as the week's hard worker. I asked her how the teacher picks, and she said she doesn't really know, but it's usually kids who don't do so great in the test. And if they show a little improvement, then they go on the board. This seemed really unfair to the kids who worked hard and scored well, like my daughter. Yesterday, we had a parent-teacher meeting. I brought this up to the math teacher. She basically said my daughter does well only because she's naturally talented. So she only wants to give the hard worker reward to kids who are actually working for every mark. Wow. I just blew up on her. I yelled at her and called her a fucking idiot and that she has no idea how much my daughter studies, even though she's only in the 6th grade, for fuck's sake. I said it's really unfair and it obviously favors kids that don't get good grades. The school year is almost over where I live. Almost all of the kids have gotten recognized multiple times except for a few who consistently score well, including my daughter. My daughter failed her standardized math test in 5th grade, so she went for a full summer of math classes to pass and enter into 6th grade. So yes, she has struggled. I guess the teacher probably didn't see that because that happened over the summertime. Well, now I feel guilty for making a scene. And also I'm wondering, is the teacher right? I might be biased because I'm not a teacher and because this is involving her child. So she wants to know, is she the asshole?
Absolutely not. I said, this is the thing. This is the unfortunate part, right? I have two very, so Janae and Jonathan are very smart kids, right? It takes, I have not had to do no homework assignments with either one of them. Jonathan, especially in math, he gets it. Okay? He gets it. I struggled in everything. But if that child is always getting good marks, I think it should be a cycle through. Like, if you have kids that are always going to do good, you do a kid that's always doing good, and then you do a kid that
is most improved.
Most improved. Because I will never be most improved if I'm always doing status quo. Right? So you don't neglect those children because they always are getting good grades. Like, I think, in my opinion, if somebody's always getting good grades, what is her reward? Okay, outside of the test, let's say you have that one, and then you say, well, here's one for someone who's always,
best behavior, class helper, or
who's
something
always
like
got
that.
Who's always getting good marks,
most consistent.
Exactly,
that could be a reward.
Exactly. So you're trying to motivate someone who you're trying to motivate children, but then it does the other children a disservice because their only motivation is more likely they're not getting in trouble with their mom.
Right.
But where's the school motivation? She ain't the asshole, because I told you in the first sentence, I don't like that shit.
I mean, I guess the asshole part comes in where she
I don't
spazzed
like that
out
shit
on the teacher. But I think to me it was a couple things that was condescending, like she's naturally talented. How can you say that when now we don't have the context, but she says that I can infer from the mom saying that she failed her standardized test in 5th grade and practiced really hard over the summer. So I'm inferring that this 6th grade teacher was not her 5th grade teacher.
Well, yeah.
So how can you say that she's naturally talented if this is your first year being with her? You don't know what we went through to get here.
And
like, maybe
she's
still
not even naturally talented because she works hard to, like, that means...
Yeah, but the teacher's not seeing that. Like, if the little girl is going home and studying on her own time so that when she comes to class, she gets the answers, the teacher's not seeing that. It just looks like, oh, she gets all the answers when she comes to class, but you're not seeing the part where she's preparing before she even gets to class.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That means that you're not teaching the classroom. You're teaching children that don't do what they're supposed to do. She may have all of these things, but then if you're going home and your mom is a stay-at-home mom, or make sure you do the homework, study for your test, because you don't want to have to go back to summer school. You've already gotten in trouble for that. I'm gonna say this: unless this is the teacher's first year in this school, them teachers talk about them kids in their class. Oh, how such and such is coming in. Well, she got to go to summer school because she didn't do well in 5th grade. So about who your students were the year before.
I mean, sometimes you don't. I could see a scenario where that wasn't discussed, because it's just like from her 5th grade teacher's perspective, it could just be like, I'm done with them. Listen, that's your problem now.
But more often than not in elementary school, and I'm only saying this because of with Jonathan being in elementary school, he knew his 3rd grade teacher in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And so,
because you kind of know who's the next step up.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to presume there's just no way.
Maybe she went to 2 different schools.
But this is what I'm saying. The only thing I'm saying is, I think she's probably in the same school, but the only thing I'm saying is, unless that teacher's new,
maybe the teacher
doesn't know that student, because when she's saying she went to summer school, she didn't say like, and then with her changing schools and stuff like that.
That's true. She didn't mention that.
And she didn't mention like, she ended up moving schools, so maybe it's this or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if this teacher is new, okay. But there's still other ways to reward all the kids. You just don't want any kid to be left out. That's just not fair. And so, no, I'm going to go off, especially if I'm asking you and you're, as an adult, you not giving me a good enough answer. Because this is the thing. If her job said, oh, we're going to give a raise to the most improved. Well, you're always a good teacher, so I don't need to give you a raise because you haven't done anything different.
Right.
You're going to be in your fucking feelings.
Absolutely.
So look at it as let's be for real. Now, I probably would have said, I mean, she was probably kind of pissed off, because especially if you know how hard your child works. So I'm not going to say you to ask her for going off. You might have had to go off a little differently. But I would put it in a term in which she may be able to understand. How would you feel is every time somebody said, when we get a most improved, you get a dollar raised, and multiple times other people have gotten dollar raised, and they were like, well, why didn't I get one? It's like, oh, because you're always doing a great job.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
She's going to be like, that's not fair to me. So, but people don't look.
And I'm interested, like, from a teacher's perspective, and teachers, please chime in the comments, but I'm interested to know, why would a teacher even put something like this into play, knowing that eventually it's going to be unfair. Like, you have to, like you said, and I get it from the perspective of, okay, I have to bring all my kids, like, because I know they have benchmarks that they have to meet. So I have my kids that are really struggling. I got to figure out a way to bring them up, right? So now I create this reward system. But as a teacher, you still have to realize that at a certain point, this reward system is going to start to look unfair
to the people that can do it.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering why even the teacher herself didn't pick up on that.
Because people do not look at outside things. If you are a teacher and you have people that are already doing well, and that's what happens. The soul folk, those kids that already always do well, and that has happened with my own, they fall between those cracks because then they don't need anything. There's no like, okay, well,
it's like they're low maintenance.
You're doing so well. Instead of sticking to the grade book, I'm going to get a few sheets from the 7th grade, or I'm going to pull something like to challenge you, to kind of push you. Yeah. And then if you're doing well on this, I'm going to give it most improved to you, because you even did something outside of your norm. You have not cultivated an atmosphere in which everybody's able to excel. Yeah. You only want the ones that are low to excel, because if they move up in their grade, it's more money for y'all.
I remember when I was in the 5th grade, and I don't know if this will work for everybody, but this is just my personal experience. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, I had ended up doing really well in science, right? And so what the teacher had done was, those that like understood, like whatever thing we were discussing, those that understood the concept, she would actually have us teach the class. And so that was like almost like a reward, in the sense of like, if you do really well, you get to teach the class. So that was a motivator. Yeah. I don't know if the other kids felt this way, but it was a motivator for me to like, I want to hurry up and finish the assignment and get everything right so I could teach the class, right? But I think in a way, it helped her too, because now instead of, like, if I got it, instead of her having to give me something else to do, by having me teach the same lesson, it would help those kids that didn't get it catch up, but it would also keep me engaged because I accomplished the lesson. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that would work in every scenario. I think obviously
everything is,
case by case basis.
If you like, oh, Toya like to be in front of the class and like to chat.
And it absolutely, as the teacher, you have to kind of know your students to know who this would work for and who it wouldn't work for. But everybody, that was an opportunity that was afforded to all of us. So I don't know if multiple people in the class kind of had that personality where we wanted to stand up in front of everybody, or it could just be psychological where she made it seem like it was something fun, like oh, you're the expert now, so you can teach us how to do it. Like, everybody, kids kind of get, you can manipulate them a little bit to think like, oh, really?
Here we go.
I'm the expert. Let me teach. But I'll be the very first person to say, while grooming for negative purposes, I don't agree with. I'm gonna just say it. Grooming for positive purposes, I think it's a useful tool. I do, because, and I'm being very careful when I say this, because I don't mean this in a predatory sense, but what I do mean is that sometimes you do have to manipulate people into doing something for their own good. That power is very dangerous, because you can also manipulate them into doing something wrong. But in a situation like that, maybe I wouldn't call it manipulation. Maybe it was inspired. But in a situation like that, I was eager to learn more about the subject, because I knew that I would be able to stand in front of the class and teach the class. At that age, my teacher made that seem like it was something to want. Maybe it just made her job easier.
And the thing is, and I'm going to just say this about grooming. We're all groomed in some type of way. Yeah. I'm groomed to be a worker. That's my thing. Roots be the same. The trunk is the same. It's how you use the branches. So let's and that's what I mean about the branches. Here we go about the branches. So we're all groomed. Yeah. But I think when people know that they're grooming, even if it is in a positive way, you know what you're doing. Oh, you're enticing someone to you. So it still gives you those same feelings. So when you hear, even if it's negative, you're like, well, they didn't have to do it, because your mindset is like, well, I'm making this child go to, all of these performances, and you have to do dance and this and then this. You're grooming that child to be the best. So even you know that you're doing the same thing, even though it's for a benefit. Now you have to rationalize it too, and it makes you feel sometimes a way. So we all being groomed. Yeah, that's why I say more than likely, it's because you know that in some way, shape, or form, we're all doing the same thing. It's just how you're doing it and what you're doing it for, the purpose behind it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as a teacher, she could have handled that
She
better.
could have handled it better. And
I don't think that the mom is the asshole, but I do think that, because, like she said at the end, because it is her child, she was a little bit more passionate.
She was a little bit more, it struck a chord.
And honestly, I do think she owes the teacher an apology for how she reacted. Yeah. But the situation is still unfair in how it's being handled. The situation
calls for a conversation. Yeah. It didn't call for maybe a cuss out.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Well, anything else? Right. I think that we good, child.
That was another great
episode. What is this?
Yeah.
Summertime is summering.
It is.
We making that happen for y'all.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, LaToya, what these people thinking about? Look, is they cooking out and stuff? They busy. They can't wait. But we here every week. We sticking through.
Remember you said we're gonna push through the summer.
And we're gonna push through the summer, because
if we have to take a break, it'll be during the holidays.
It'll be during the fall, and not even the fall. I think we said during the holidays, because it's just difficult in the wintertime.
It is.
That cold, that brisk, get up under my coat, and they be like, what you gonna do now?
Well, with all that being said,
make sure you
like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Drop down in them comments if you are a teacher or educator. Please let us know, how would you have maybe handled the situation? Yeah. And would you feel like a conversation or a cuss out was necessary? Talk to us.
And if you're a parent, how would you have handled it?
Yeah.
And we'll drink to that.